Welcome once again, everyone. It is Inside the PFL, Season 7, Week 4. I am your former champion, El Zubador, Joe. Back on track. Just a little bit. We still don't have the full crew. I don't know if we will all season at this point, because 4 weeks in, it's going to be more of a fucking... It's going to be a trend at this point. Whatever. We got Manny back.
I'm bad. I go off for a week and then I come back.
Well, you were sick last week, so at least you had a good excuse.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
That loss to Mike just gave you the flu.
It really did. It really upset my stomach. I had to purge all of the demons inside me. I think I came out of the other side for the better, though, after this week's match.
I think so, definitely. How do you feel about the week overall here?
Oh, that was really exciting. We had a lot of close matches. I really enjoyed Dan and M1's match. I thought that was a good divisional matchup, and that was probably my favorite throughout the week.
And I think that it was the first week with the new timer rule, and it messed some people up. It made for some pretty exciting moments, but I think we can get things started here. First battle of the week here. It is myself over Rob +1, the first battle in the timer experiment here. And I'm going to be honest, Manny, I felt very rushed in the match. When the timer finished, or when the match was over, I probably still had about 3 minutes or more left on the timer still, but for some reason I had a fucking firecracker up my ass for most of it.
The timer was very weird. I kept looking down and it said 240 seconds left. I was like, ah! I didn't my game. I feel bad for everyone who had close games. My game was pretty self-explanatory. I was hitting sub and I was hitting DD and I was just waiting. I was just doing calcs to make sure that my attacks were going to kill his mons after a certain point. But with the timer, I think we're really gonna have to start calcing turns down the road. You're gonna have to do some real stuff this season.
Some real hardcore shit. One of my favorite parts of the match, actually, it was a very big surprise. Right near the beginning, Chandelure comes in, and Manny, is this just me expecting? Now, Rob often dashes expectations, but when I see Chandelure, when you see Chandelure, do you assume it's scarfed?
Always.
So then I think you can forgive me for just being all right, let's see what he does to me here. And I hit Roost on Golbat, and all of a sudden, there goes 88% of my health.
Oh, that was rough. You just got to be thankful that he wasn't Specs, because I'm pretty sure if he was Specs, that Fire Blast was going to blow you back.
That would have myrtleized me. He might have been Specs, considering, we don't exactly see what happened with Chandelure, because they did get Pursuit Trapped, which was... After seeing last week in the match where Alolan Muck did some pursuit damage to Mario, I was like, oh yeah, T-Tar's really good at that.
Yeah, that's his thing, man. That's what he does.
So expect that a lot more, you motherfuckers. Really what won the match for me, though, was the fact that near the... I took a page out of your book. I had Spectrode, which did, I think... fucking gangbusters for me in that match.
Dude, Electrode, you just throw Specs on that thing, because nothing's gonna outspeed $150. It's fine. And it's such a big power increase.
It made it so T-Bolt was, it's neutral on Sylveon, but Sylveon doesn't have low special defense. It was a fucking 3-tap, which I think is pretty damn good.
Electrode won me a week one time, and I want you to use him more.
And I had him there specifically also for the fact that I was assuming Rob would have Hyper Voice on Sylveon, and Soundproof is a thing, and he didn't get to use it. I kind of wish he did. Rob meandered a bit with Sylveon, but it would have been nice to... Because little niche ability things like that, I want to see you get Bulletproof off on Chestnut. I want to see that.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But Rob, he messed up that wish play. He wished he was +1 special D on your Electrode. He could have survived, but he wished into Zoroark, who then got bopped. I don't know why he just didn't sit there and protect, because he did reveal the protect, right? remembering that wrong?
He didn't have Protect. I don't
Oh, he
think that was
didn't
the
have
thing.
Protect. Oh, okay.
He hit Wish and he just died. He just let Sylveon die because I think it was... I don't know. I didn't end up seeing the one move because Zoroark was disguised as Sylveon, which... I mean, if Sylveon's thrown out a flamethrower, that ends up being like, okay, this is Zoroark.
Yes. As soon as I was like, oh boy, here it is. I was like, wait a minute, flamethrower? No, that's not weird. Oh, I'm an idiot.
But really what won me the match was the fact that I had Scarf on Blacephalon as well as, Specs Electrodes scaring out for Alligator 100% of the time. And I learned, Manny, I thought Mind Blown worked kind of like High Jump Kick, where if you miss it, you can survive 2 missed High Jump Kicks, and you can survive 2 Mind Blowns if you want, but you can't. It rounds up. So I was a little dumb doing that, but it was actually what I needed to kill Machamp, because a +1 Shadow Ball would not have killed it.
That's crazy. Did you have odd HP?
I did, yeah.
Oh, so and it rolls. Okay, because I was like, it rounded specifically to 50. And normally it gives you 51.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it works that way with Mind Blown.
That's so
good thing to know for Blacephalon. No longer on my team. Not because of that. It did actually win me the match. Moving on, we have what you said was your favorite match of the week here. M1 getting the +1 over Dan here. It was a nail-biter, to say the least, because Pyroar was recently banned from PU, and there might be a good reason for that we're seeing here, where you could just switch in Pyroar and hit fucking Scarf Overheat, and not a lot is going to want to take that.
Pyroar was one of my early season targets. It was like Pyroar and Houndoom, but Incineroar kind of ruined that plan. But I totally agree with Pyroar. His speed, his normal typing, and his fire type. He's a really good late game sweep.
He was, positioned for that here. M1 had to play very carefully with his last few Mons, just because of the fact that, Fake Out was the only damage he was going to get on Pyroar, unless it was locked into something else, which, of course, thankfully, he was able to tank a Hyper Voice with Cryogonal at the end there, but it was basically boiling down to... he had to let something die, switch in Lopunny for Fake Out, and then let something else die so he could get another Fake Out.
It was just, who could sack faster? At the very end, I was like, is Pyroar going to sweep? Pyroar going to sweep? And then Cryogonal was just, no, Pyroar's not going to sweep.
Again, fucking 130 Special D in Tier 5 is not a joke. Cryogonal's really good.
I'll give you good. I'm not going to go really.
Oh, I mean really good for 40 points.
Okay. I'll still give you good.
He gets Rapid Spin. He gets Recover if you want to play that shit.
Okay.
That's another thing. Cryogonal was Scarf, too, which meant absolutely nothing because Pyroar outspeeds it by 1.
Does it really?
Yep, 106 to 105.
Man, Pyroar is one fast boy.
So yeah, there you go. If you're looking for speed, Pyroar, Tier 5, 40 points. Maybe not next season, but, we'll see.
I'm taking him.
Next up, we've got Murphy getting the +2 over Mike here. So there was a few things that happened here that were bad for Mike. I think that he as well got kind of janked by the timer, where he was making a lot of plays without, you have 5 minutes might not look like a long time, but if you keep things fairly consistent, if you need fucking 2 minutes to solve a turn, you could have that, late game.
Yeah. Mike, he texted me soon, the day after the battle or something like that, and he was furious. And I hadn't watched the battle at the time, so I was like, it's probably just Mike just being Mike. And then I looked at it, and I was like, he must have used all of his good battling against me, and then it's just the well dried up. Because there were some questionable moves.
I'm partially to blame because I'll take that, is some of this is my fault because Crestleo was in against Bisharp, and after my match, again, you pursuit trap, and I'm like, oh shit, Mike, you might get pursuit trapped here. So he went for damage instead of leaving, and he ate a knockoff, and Crestleo died, and Crestleo was his only answer, not his only answer, but it was an answer. I think it had Energy Ball for Quagsire, and then after that he had nothing for Quagsire.
Quaggy's a problem.
Now the thing is, and this can kind of go either way just depending on how the match goes, Mike had partial amounts of his team over the weekend when we were talking. Then I was over at Mario's house on Monday, and we I kind of helped him with his team then. Then the battle happened on Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, either or, and he talked to me for about 20 minutes before the battle to get the team. Mike might have gotten in his own head a bit, too, with this. He did a lot of tinkering.
Oh, no. You don't tinker, man. You set your lineup, you do your calcs, and then you trust your prep. And that's it. Tinkering might work for you, like, once in a while, but like
no, trust your gut.
The majority of the time it just fails. Right. Yes. Start your studs, stick to the plan.
And I do know specifically that on Raikou he had HP Grass, which he then swapped out for HP Ice for some reason. And then he had, again,
oh my God,
nothing for Quaggy, which was a big thorn in his side for the entire match.
HP Grass, anything? Like, that's just...
Next up, we've got Tristan getting the +4 over Thomas. Manny, what the fuck is happening with Thomas this season?
I said it and I'll say it again. Okay, one, I don't think that Thomas is that good of a battler. I think he's very average at best.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm gonna throw him under the bus there. Okay. Two, he had an absolutely horrendous draft, and it's probably because he was prepping for college, doing his thing, but like there are other people who went to college and drafted a better team. His team looks like a mess. He looks like a mess. I think he's done with this season. Odds are he's probably not going to make playoffs with the shortened season this year. So, yikes! He has a lot of fixing to do over the summer.
He did say, I believe last week, he did say that he was baked out of his mind for most of the draft, which was, again, that does...
Okay, there it is. I like it.
That does take place over 5 days, just so you know, so...
That's impressive, Thomas. To be baked for that long? Man.
Now, I think that part of the problem was, and it might have just been a mismatch, he didn't have anything for Snorlax. He had Brick Break on, like, fucking Scarf Salamence. And Scarf Moxie is a legitimate strategy. It's a not a bad idea. A lot of times, it's basically what I did with Blacephalon this week. But when your only thing to deal with Snorlax is a fucking Brick Break on Salamence, I don't think he brought Hitmonchan. He didn't really have a lot that he could have done with Mega Sableye. It was just there. I don't know if he did bring Toxic on it, but with Rest, that makes Toxic just superfluous. There was not he could have just sat there and cursed, because at that point Mega Sableye is just fucking setup fodder.
I don't know, man. Was he baked for this too? Snorlax just came in, set up curse, and I was like, oh, well, there it is. Just
there were weird plays all around. He leaves Volcarona in when it's very clear that Snorlax has, he revealed Rock Slide already, so Volcarona just gets completely destroyed. It's so weird. I
don't know, man. I'm just gonna chalk this whole season up to just Thomas is having a bad go.
We're all there. That happens every once in a while. So it just happens to be the third season in a row for Thomas.
See my previous comments.
Next up, we've got this was the fucking craziest battle of the weekend. I think this one, I like this one a lot just for the weird shit that was going on in it. Normally, I write 2 notes for a battle. I wrote 5 for this one. Gage over Kyle, +1 here. Let's start off pretty much from the beginning here. So, Memento on Dugtrio is an option. It's something that I see, every so often. Memento being something I'd like to see run more, because it's a nice move that you can use as an opportunity to start setting up, or, kind of just, get yourself in position to get a threat out of the way for a second. Dugtrio uses Memento on turn 5, and it stops Kamao, but then he probably could have just hit EQ and got the damage.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. I would have went with EQ. You're faster. Just save it for later. When a few of his mons start to drop. I feel like Memento really could have swung things in his favor if he used it a little bit later.
There was another fun thing, 2 fun things actually with Storm Drain in this match here. So Kyle gets Storm Drained. Toxapex uses Scald on my boy Gastrodon the legend. But then Kyle does a thing where he put Earthquake instead of Earth Power on Gastrodon.
Interesting. I mean, that's fair. I've seen that done before.
I don't know. I feel like Earth Power's the better option there. Maybe that's just me though, because if you're running Scald already, why wouldn't you? I mean, I don't think you're gonna pump stuff into special, but like if when you're choosing natures and stuff, if you're gonna bring something down, why not make it uniform and you could bring down the attack?
I guess, or he could have run some weird minus speed set, and Earthquake does do a little bit more base damage if he's not going to put any investment in. You know what I mean?
Right. And
Earthquake might have do a little bit more if he's like down speed or something.
yeah, it was a little disappointing to see. And then Mega Alakazam comes in with the Deadly Trace on Storm Drain, and now it's a little understandable. It takes a few turns for everything to kind of come through. It's about 5 turns later as Gastrodon's trying to take care of Mega Alakazam, and it uses Scald, and there's +1 special attack Mega Alakazam, which is something that you do not want to see ever, fucking ever.
Dude, it says it right in the chat. It says it on the screen. As soon as he comes in, it was a Trace Storm Drain. Like, just pay attention.
It's the heat of the moment. The timer's running.
Really
You might not notice.
But that was some grim shit right there. Especially after those back-to-back special defense drops.
Yeah, that's a fucking 10% chance!
I was like, oh my god, like he could not get any more like lucky. And somehow he managed to just skirt around it.
That's legitimate super luck, considering the 2 freezes I got last season with Ice Beam 2 in a row were on a Pokemon that doesn't get Ice Beam. So this is actual 1% luck that we just saw here, and it was amazing. I loved it.
It was not amazing.
Well,
it wasn't amazing. I'll give it that.
But, in any other scenario, just about, other than maybe fucking Ditto, Mega Alakazam runs Train and the game's over, usually, or like Sucker Punch hits it or something. But of course, the ultimate fucking equalizer, the thing that stops momentum dead in its tracks comes in. Mega Banette just hits the D-Bond, and I mean, man, Prankster D-Bond is such a it's a thing.
It's so dumb. Like as soon as he came in, like at that point, like what do you do? Like how many PP does Destiny Bond have?
8 maybe after PP ups probably.
Oh, okay, maybe. Because like I was gonna say, like the Mega Alakazam set is actually like sub and a Calm Mind to try to get around like Sucker Punch and weird shit like that. And as soon as Mega Banette came in, my first instinct would have been not to attack it.
Sub doesn't stop D-Bomb though, does it?
No, but you're not attacking though.
No, true.
But it still burns it. You could stall it. That's what I mean.
Well, the thing that I hate about Prankster D-Bond though is the fact that you have it for that entire turn, and you have it for the next turn too. You have D-Bond on you for fucking 2 turns when you use it like that. So
that's so stupid. That's just so. We're banning that. That's just not even fun to play against.
Well, it's like Ditto. It's the ultimate neutralizer. Momentum just has to even out at that point.
Yeah, I guess. Ditto is a little less oppressive, but all right, go ahead.
And then there was Gage also just kind of got rid of Kamo for no reason. It was just slamming Shadow Claws on a fucking Rocky Helmet Mew. It like there was I can understand maybe if you want a clean switch, but like it as it was happening, I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Como just left to the wind. It was kind of like in Mario's game that we're going to talk about later, where Mario just like I forget which mon it was, but Mario just like it was Electros. He just sat there spamming Giga Drain until Electros died, and I was like, dude, that's such a bad play. And that's what that was.
Basically, and the final thing that happened here, we had a very surprising move to see. Dig, Manny, dig on Weavile.
Let's go, bring it out, boys. I'm excited that Dig got used. I mean, it's like what 50 base power or some shit, right?
80, so less than like a flamethrower.
Oh, okay. I thought it was weaker than that.
And
shit,
that could have been a good thing too, because it was Toxapex and Entei were all that was left on Gage's team, and the only thing that got him the +1 here was just a flare, flare blitz damage from hitting the guy here. Knockoff might have been better, but I don't know.
Yeah, at that point, I don't think it mattered.
Next up, we've got here, your game. Why don't you take us through Manny over Mitch +5, please. Go ahead and tell us what your thought process was going into this one.
Okay, so I thought back to my loss to Kyle last season, And I was like, okay, like what could I do differently against a crappier version of Kyle's team? And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna bring very vanilla Gyarados and just tell him to come at me. And I knew he was gonna lead something tanky. He wasn't gonna lead with his threats, but I knew he was gonna lead either Mega Steelix, because I always lead Coco, and or he was gonna lead Chansey, in which case I had my special Haunter for. So I was like, you know what? Like Steelix, I expect my Gyarados to be able to sub in front of Mega Steelix without breaking the sub. So at that point, I was like, you know what? There's nothing he could send in here that I'm afraid of. So I just led with Gyarados, and then as soon as he did Chansey, I was like, he's gonna go for the. I knew he was gonna go for the Toxic. Turn one, sub Toxic missed anyway, and then he just sat in there, and I don't know why, but he sat in there and let me sit up to +2. And then that was game over. As soon as I got to +2, I was like, sorry, buddy.
I'm very surprised that he had two options to switch into Z-Fly in both Alomomola and Mega Steelix. Because after you burn that Z move, and this is something that happens later too, Alomomola is, like, you aren't going to get past that with Gyarados. Like, you didn't have it. Like, he was going to tank even at like +4 after all the Moxie and everything, he was going to tank a waterfall and he could just protect on the bounces. And for some reason, Mitch just gives up. Like, now, and again, I say this almost every week here, don't be afraid to drag a match into the goddamn mud. If you have the advantageous position, make your opponent move. You don't move if they can't do anything to you.
Yeah, no, I clicked waterfall. I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to stop playing this game, because I thought he was just going to stall me out of it. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to waste 80 turns doing this, so I clicked waterfall. And then he didn't bring Sturdy on Steelix.
The ability of your non-Mega Mon does matter sometimes. Flash Fire is,
Yes.
Put Flash Fire on your Houndoom. Put Limber on your Lopunny so you could switch into a T-Wave or something, Like, these little things do matter.
Mm-hmm. And so I was at +5? Yeah, I was at +5 when he sent the fish in, and my waterfall was only going to do 48 to 55. So had he not sacked Electivire and Infernape and Steelix to give me 3 extra pluses, I would have probably only been doing like 20-some to 30.
And all he needed to do to you was hit Scald until you were dead.
Yes. I don't know, just it's one of those things where, like, I feel like he got frightened of the Dragon Dance and then the Moxie, and then he just was like Electivire, electric beats Gyarados, and then, like, what did he think he was gonna
even if
he
scarfed happened? At that point, you're at 2 times. There's
I was
no
at
way he was
+2.
Yeah.
I don't know. He basically just gave me a +6 is what happened.
Essentially, I mean, it was nasty to see it, because it was definitely a matter of him basically crumpling after the first turn, or at least after Chansey was gone, because clearly he thought Chansey could take it if he left it in.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I was like, when I subbed and then Dragon Danced, I went to my calc real quick and I was like, mother of God, I really need to get to +2 to kill this thing. So then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna risk the Toxic here. After I subbed again because I wanted to check if he was going to try a Toxic, but he was just pot committed to the Seismic Toss at that point. So I was like, okay, I'm in. Free Dragon Dance, and then that was that.
It was definitely it was, as the turns were going by, I was like, is this going to be a Tyler match again? Is this going to end up +6? But I again, Alomomola stopped you fucking completely in your tracks. So I don't know.
Completely, I was freaking out in my kitchen.
You lucky bastard.
Yeah, I was really like, this is Tyler all over again. I'm so pissed it wasn't, but whatever.
Next up, we've got sneaky beaten Mario +2 here. Mario had an off week, we'll say, with this. I mean, there were mitigating circumstances involved. He couldn't find anybody to battle for him, but while the match was going on, I was talking to Mario, and he was very angry throughout.
I don't even want to know how angry he was, because there were some sloppy plays there.
I didn't ask him at the time why he was leaving Electros in to just eat Giga Drains from Tangrowth, but I guess he didn't want to switch something else in. It was weird. I mean, like, obviously he wanted to protect Rhydon and stuff because Rhydon, you know, having that 4 times weakness and everything. I just don't know what he was trying to protect, really, is the whole thing with that.
Yeah, that was just a very questionable set of plays, and then I feel like that happens with Mario sometimes, is like as soon as something goes outside of his plan, he just, like, he can't recover.
Once he's in a bit of a disadvantageous position, he can't really see that there are other options available, and he'd rather get a clean switch with something, I think happens.
Right.
There were some questionable plays on both ends, really, and I talked to Sneaky after the match, too. Mario was banking on, after Rhydon eating a fucking Z-Fly, did 17% to Rhydon from Lando. Yes. Jesus Christ. And he was banking on, as you may have seen there, Lando to hit the EQ and then have it just get rocked by Avalanche. Now, again, talking to Sneaky afterwards, Manny, we talk about, you know, knowledge of the game is something that can be very dangerous, but there's also lack of knowledge of the game, because Sneaky told me he did not realize that EQ beat Rock.
What?
he was not aware that that ground moves were super effective against rock types.
Interesting.
So he U-turned out, and then Tangrowth ate an avalanche that did like 23% to it.
So it helped.
It helped. I mean, it also hurt him in other ways, because he did tell me also that he just let Blissey die to Icicle Crash because he was not aware that Icicle Crash was a physical move. And
I love it.
And he didn't think to switch in Blastoise on Starmie because he did not realize that Starmie was a psychic type.
Oh, come on. You just hover. You just hover, man. Oh, Mario better not listen to this podcast because he's going to flip shit.
I told him all of that already.
Oh.
I couldn't not do it. I had to let him know, because these were revelations that were just wonderful.
Oh my god.
But Mario was mad after the match, but he's still 3-1. He's still top of his division. I don't think it's going to be a big problem. Platinum is very competitive, though. I don't know if you looked at it, Manny. Gage is... So, all right, I'm top of my division, 3-1 plus 7 or whatever. Mike is 2-2 plus 4. Everybody in Platinum, literally everyone in Platinum, is between me and Mike in terms of record right now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great. I haven't looked at the standings. That's awesome.
Things are shaping up to be very competitive in Platinum, so I'm curious to see how that goes. And for the last match of the week here, there is a little bit of a treat. I was able to sit down with one James Heisted, or however you might pronounce his last name, I never asked him, of Heisted's Hopefuls, and we're going to go over his match. There's a little bit of an interview. I think you'll like it. Play that for you right now. Here we are. It is the first of the Inside the PFL Season 7 interview series, and my guest this time, I don't want to say this week because Lord knows how often I'll be doing them. Why don't you introduce yourself, guest?
Hello, it's James. What up, guys?
Oh, it's James! The Season 3 champion, the man who beat me in a championship because I missed a fucking hydro pump.
Miss the dreaded hydro pump. I don't think it would have killed it. I put it a little bulky that day.
I can always hold on to that hope. At least I ended up getting my championship anyway. We're here today, James. We're going to talk about your match. First off, we're going to talk about your match against Garrison this week here. So I'm going to lead things right off. How many Pokemon have you brought with Explosion this season so far?
3 times.
It's pretty. I am getting it mixed up a little bit with the Custab Guard Destiny Bond play that you used before, but you seem to be quite a fan of Pokemon with moves that will just straight up murder the opposing Pokemon when you have very little health, and it's admirable. It's maximizing efficiency, and you got to do that this time with, what was it, Sash on Gorgeist?
Yeah, I do that with Gorgeist probably all the time. That's the play with Gorgeist.
I mean, it got you pretty much exactly what you needed to set up Trick Room here, where you've used Trick Room earlier in the season here. This is the first, I don't know, well, it was pretty effective last time too, but this, it ended up pretty bad for Garrison.
Well, Gorgeist is such a good The Pokemon in Tier 5 with Frisk, they should all be drafted. Frisk is such an amazing ability. It tells you too much about your opponent's team in our league. You look like learning what item one Pokemon might have can like really manage the rest of the game for you.
I agree. It can turn some things around because then you know what Pokemon don't have that item too.
Yeah, as soon as you find out who a Choice Scarf user is, you're like, all right, well now I know who to work around.
It helps with the strategy and things, yeah, and not just that, but you've definitely, I think, have you had Gourgeist twice so far? Did Dave have it last, maybe?
A few years ago, when I did that Trick Room team,
All the way back in season 2, I believe.
yeah.
Do you use any like the different versions of Gourgeist, or is it always Super?
The one time I used the quicker version, I wanted to get a few hits off with Leech Seed, but I only got one because he Choice Scarfed that and Hurricane the shit out of it.
Really, the big star of the match was Alolan Marowak, who I think Mike had a stab at it, Dave had a stab at it with a Marowak, Murphy maybe, somebody did. Nobody's really gotten a ton of use out of it, and this, I think, I mean, we moved it down because nobody's really used it that much, and it earned its 100 points in its match here this week.
Oh, yeah. When I was doing some scouting on his team, I noticed that Alolan Marowak was the slowest Pokemon in between our two teams. So as long as he didn't bring anyone with Taunt or, Rock priority, but I'm the only one with Rock's priority with a Celerock. But as long as he didn't get up Stealth Rocks, I thought I had a good chance to just one-hit his entire team with Marowak.
I mean, that's almost what happened, and quite frankly, it was you and I were talking about it. It was one of those matches where basically from turn 3, we'll say, because that's when Marowak came out. I was like, oh, it's over. Nothing he could do here.
Yeah, I like Espeon too for a Trick Room setter. After it sets up Trick Room, it is now the slowest Pokemon. Well, because it's the fastest.
Right.
So you can get that quick baton pass, or possibly use the red card or something like that to maybe switch to the opposing team. I'm trying to play around because the last match I played, everybody's been trying to outspeed Greninja, and it's impossible to figure out like who's the best Choice Scarf to beat up Greninja. Everybody's just been Choice Scarfing it and then like weighing down. So I have to like reverse the order every now and then just to make sure you guys stay on your toes.
Honestly, that's a good strategy to have because then everybody's so focused on Greninja they start forgetting about things like Marowak and things that might be good in Trick Room.
Yeah.
So definitely kudos to you for that one here. And the win, +4, one of the bigger wins of the season here. You're still first in your division, the only loss so far coming from the Conference Cup week last week. How do you feel about your season so far?
I want my division to be a little more competitive. Right now, I don't know what happened with Thomas. Thomas has been... The last match he just played in, I didn't understand a lot of the moves that he was going on with. That was a very different match. He left things in when I thought he usually switches them, and the Will-O-Wisp play he did, I was like, oh man, it's toxic.
I feel like it's a lot of meandering he's doing. I don't know if it's like he's trying to scout when he should be aggressive or what, but there's a lot of just Thomas isn't taking enough initiative in a lot of the battles, I feel like.
Yeah, and unless he's playing me. Me and him always go down to the wire.
Speaking of, you've got him, is that this week? Yeah, you have that battle this week, I'm pretty sure, so that's going to be a fun one.
It's always a good match between me and him. We always play each other very well.
And what do you think, coming up here, Thomas could be one of them. What are some of the big challenges you sort of have ahead for the rest of the season, do you think?
Oh, let me look at the schedule. This week again, I have every division matchup I'm always over preparing for. Like whenever I have to play Thomas or Garrison or Tristan, I'm going to over prepare like crazy. And then the conference cups, I kind of fool around, but this next conference cup is you.
As it happens, yes.
I'm the worst at conference cups. I like to bring like all of the trash I carry on my team.
Well,
I'll bring Raichu, Swellow, Gourgeist, Lycanroc Day, and like all the lowest, and Espeon. That would be like part of my whole team if I could do it and like make it work.
I'm gonna be sweating it entirely because I still don't think I have an actual win over you. Mike had to play you for me, something like that. No, I had to play against you with Trevor's team last season,
Oh
and
man, you smoked me right off the bat. That dude, I didn't think you would have choice scarfed anything in the beginning, and then you just obliterated Abomasnow, which was also choice scarfed. That's a game.
so I don't consider that an official win or anything. So I'm gonna be hungry, James. You gotta fucking watch out, dude. I'm coming for you.
Oh shit.
Who do you think is sort of impressing the most so far this season?
I really like Manny's team and your team. Those two teams are very good. M1 always, since he came into the league, he's been playing really good. So I expect to see him making it to the playoffs also.
Everybody knew that's coming in. The thing is, we've trimmed a lot of the fat this season, and by the fat I mean Tyler. So there's nobody.
How do you cheat in a kid's game?
You'd have to ask him. And spoiler alert, I don't know if you know this. He still doesn't know that this is going on right now.
Oh.
We're still keeping it a secret from him. Yeah, exactly. And before we finish up here, I just want what's going on with. Give me a VGC update. I want to know what's going on with you and VGC.
All right, so that I wanted to do that EV team, but they just switched up to the 2019 Sun Series. I don't know. Do you know anything about that?
I do not. So be as right. Detailed as possible.
Going to my first VGC tournament, it was very strange because I didn't know what to expect. So I show up there, and dude, it's like everybody else that I'm playing isn't like, they're not 18-year-olds. They're like 28-year-old men just like me, like having a good time. But like, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that were taking it so serious. The people that would put their sunglasses on, their headphones on, and then just stare down at their game and then have like a notepad to the right, just writing down how they were going to crush me in the next battle.
With the last time that you went, wasn't it you had 2 wins, was it, or something like that?
I went 3-4.
Okay.
I really messed up when I locked my team in. The Pangoro I had got confused from the berry I had on it because I'm an idiot.
Oh.
So that actually made me lose one match. One match I lost because it hurt itself in confusion instead of killing a Cresselia.
What a fucking bum rap, Jesus.
Dude, that was the saddest moment of that whole tournament to me. I could have been like 4-3 instead of 3-4. But now, the new Sun Series, you get two. There's no more Mega Stones and there's no more Z moves. So you get 2 Ubers, either Kyogre, Groudon, Yveltal, Xerneas. A few of them are not allowed. Like you can't use Dragon Ascend with Rayquaza. So Rayquaza's kind of out of it still. Like you could use Rayquaza, but without Dragon Ascent, it's not the Pokemon you expect it to be.
Yeah, you could hit V-Create, cool.
Yeah. But it's making it very interesting. The whole meta right now is basically either you're going to use Kyogre or Groudon for weather control. You'll have 1 or 2 Tapus. That'll be the other part of your team. And then you need an intimidation user, and you also need a steel user because Xerneas is just...
It's going to bowl through things.
Yeah, if Xerneas gets Geomancy off, you're looking at like game over. If they get a Tailwind with Geomancy off, you're not going to win that game. That's the end of the game for you.
How different, really? I mean, I've tried doubles before, but like, how much more involved is doubles compared to like normal matches?
The amount of options you now have is, like when you do a normal, in our league, you only get 1. So you got 4 choices. That's it. But in doubles, now you've got 4 choices for one Pokemon and 4 choices for another. So that turn is a total option of 16 options you can choose to play. That's like the main goal. The head games that get played over and over in doubles. You can bring a Mimikyu set, and that Mimikyu set could be 20 different things. It could have Taunt on it. It could run Sword Dance, or it could run Curse. I've seen Curse sets with it where you get killed from just like being in the game. So the amount of options they have, like Protect is needed in doubles.
Just for like scouting purposes?
Yeah, just for scouting. When I went to that VGC, a bunch of people with Pangoro, they would just use double Protect right off the bat because they were like, I have no idea what the hell
Oh, and would you like to see us run a doubles league eventually?
I think it'd be fun, but the tier list would have to get totally reorganized.
Oh yeah, no, I
'Cause
know that it's that's the thing is we'd have to start from scratch, and considering we'd have to basically jack a tier list like how this league started, and then slowly but surely we kind of move things around to see how it works here. Where for this, I don't know about Manny, but I have no knowledge about doubles, so
yeah, like Mega Charizard Y would be way up there, and some of the ones in the S tier, like Mega Pinsir and stuff, they would probably get dropped back because if you just have to touch them and they get exploded, they're done.
right, exactly. Well, I think that it's something we'll definitely bring up. You're an influencer because we have that timer rule in now, which I believe went quite well the first week. I was off my ass the entire time, even though I was in absolutely no rush to finish my game against Rob. I still think I made a few mistakes, but that's something we got to get acclimated to.
Yeah, I think the timer was a good choice for our league because if you ask some of the people that put in a lot of time when building their team, like Manny or Tristan did a lot of work on that one match I played him. You take a lot of time in building your team and then having the other player do the entire work that you did all week during that minute.
Right.
Like they're just doing the whole work that you did all week in that minute before they choose a decision. Those calcs needed to be like wounded down a little bit.
And there's going to be a lot more plays that are like gut feelings, which can, make or break a match. But I think that's definitely, it's, in sports, you don't get you don't get 5 minutes at the free throw line to be like, all right, wait a minute, I need to psych myself up for this.
Yeah, exactly. Managing the clock like that is really just doing calcs, like seeing, because this is just a turn-based game. If you can calculate turn after turn after turn after turn, up to 12 turns prior to clicking a move, you know what's going to come next, you know what you're going to do over and over again if you calc it all out in that one turn based off, is he choice banded? If he's choice banded, well then these are my next 6 steps.
Right. And it adds, I think, a new level of intensity to it, too, because the match with Mike and Murphy came down to he only had 5 seconds left like 4 or 5 times, and I'm yelling at Mike the entire time as it's happening. I'm just so excited watching it go down. So I think that it adds just another layer to it, too.
Yeah, Mike's really got to start learning how to use Miltank.
He had a good job in his match against Manny, but yeah, I don't know. We could talk about Mike some other time.
Well, it didn't make sense, He just left it in there to get blown up against poor Mega Galad when, dude, you got an Intimidate user right in Arcanine. You throw that thing in and just blast some Flare Blitzes in his face. What's he going to do?
He does have a rematch coming up, so that'll be sound advice there. But I think that this will be where we wrap things up for this interview here. So I thank you for taking the time for me here.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
So, Manny, let's talk trades and pickups for this week.
Woo!
There will be a little bit of... This will not be a 20-minute segment like it was last week, thanks to Thomas. And this will not be a joke segment because only one trade and pickup happened. So there were a few trades. M1 made 2 changes. You talked about Houndoom before. He dropped Simisear for that because Houndoom is essentially a straight upgrade.
Yes.
The only thing is it's like 97 speed as opposed to 101 or whatever from Simisear. And you get the Dark type.
I feel like Houndoom's a better Pokemon.
Definitely, for certain. And in order to not make that Dark typing superfluous, I guess, he dropped Crook and picked up Nidoking, who is always a fun choice.
Interesting.
Now, I think everybody's going to be going for Crook next week, is the thing. Whoever has the worst record is going to be grabbing Crook because...
If someone doesn't grab Crocodile, they're idiots. Everyone should be messaging us this week saying Crocodile, and just hopefully somebody just so everyone knows, and just to re-clarify, because I don't think we've ever run into this problem. But if there's multiple bids on the same Pokemon, the trainer with the worst record gets it.
This did actually happen 2 weeks ago, actually.
Oh, did it? Okay, never mind then.
Because I'm sorry, man. This happened last week. I know you were sick. Kyle wanted Bronzong, and then Thomas snatched Bronzong from under him.
Okay, then. There it is. And then if the records are tied for whatever reason, it'll go by least plus. And if that's tied for whatever reason, then it will go by your strength of schedule. And it's the same thing for playoffs too, by the way, just in reverse order.
Yep. Then I made a change here. Blacephalon, as I said earlier, dropped from my team because, Manny, I had 4 what I would consider glass cannon special attackers in Blacephalon, in Megaseptile, in Jinx, and Electrode. So I figure, 107 is pretty good, but and I got Volcanion instead because I want something a little more tanky.
Fair enough. Volcanion did well for you, so...
It's like going back to an old friend. And finally, Mike dropped one of his old friends here, which, man, Flagon wasn't doing a lot for him. And I know that one of the things you told him was he definitely needed some speed, and he gets that with Noivern.
I feel like that's an upgrade. I don't know yet, though. Noivern was very bleh for me, but I feel like Noivern is better than Flagon.
Noivern was very whelming from what I remember. You expected it to do more, but it kind of didn't.
It
a lot like Megalopon.
Pitter-pattered.
Yeah. Specs, like a Specs Draco is a good thing, but you don't really get a ton of opportunities to use it.
Right. And, what was I going to say about Noivern? Oh!
Hurricane?
Well, yeah, Hurricane sucks. But I like the swap. Flagon sucks. Noivern's a little better, so it's good for like any increase in speed tier. But does he have a ground type?
Now that Flagon is gone, he does not. But he told me
then.
He did say that he's going to look things over because he wanted to make more picks, but he was I don't know if he was busy or something. But the only one that he wanted to make this week was Flagon for Noivern.
Fair enough.
And rounding things off here, we got a short week of Commish Picks. The previous week, our guest picker Mario actually did the best, going 6-2, which is pretty damn good. I did a pretty normal 4-4, and Thomas went 3-5. So going into this week here, it's the shortened week. Half of the teams have a bye week and things like that. So first off, it is Garrison versus Tristan. This is the first rematch week, Manny. The first time these two squared off. Tristan got the victory out of this here. I think that week 1, you're always kind of working out the kinks. I think that Garrison's going to take this one this time.
I'm going to go Tristan until proven wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Tristan confuses me, and I'm not going to attempt to understand. I'm just going to blindly follow. So until Tristan proves me wrong, I'm going to say winner, winner, chicken dinner.
And because Thomas didn't put in Commish Picks this week, Mario was back guest picking. He chose Tristan. Next up, we've got James taking on Thomas. Thomas is in the fucking dregs. He really needs to pull himself out of it. I got James +3.
I have James. I think that I would have plussed on James, but I am feeling much more confident about my match. So.
And Mario chooses a boner, as he likes to call James, so that is written as such.
Sweep it!
Next, we've got yourself, Manny, versus M1. Again, a rematch here. The first one you won fairly handily, I'll say. I think that M1's going to give you a little bit more of a run for your money. It's going to be closer, but you're still going to get it out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with me +2. I feel good that I don't have to face Crocodile now. I feel less good because Nidoking is still there, but I feel a little bit better because I'm more wary of Crocodile than Nidoking, which might end up biting me in the ass, but we'll see.
And Mario has you +3, so he thinks it's going to be a pretty clean win for you as well. Sweeping that one too.
All aboard the Manny train.
And finally, we've got Dan versus Mitch. This was the first time that these two met. Mitch just won it. He eked out a +1. I think Chansey might have been his only Pokemon left at that point. I feel like if Mitch needs to kind of learn how to use his team, and I don't know if he's really gotten the hang of it yet. So I'm taking Dan on this one.
I'm taking Dan as well, just because I really like what I've been seeing from Dan as of late. Like even in the losses, he still looks good. So I would take the better battler over much about anything. So.
And Mario's got Mitch, so we'll see how that one goes. And as we wrap things up here, Manny, I gotta ask you, it is half the league is off, so it's not the most important week of the season for them. But for your half, for Yellow and Crystal here, is this the most important week of the season?
Yes, it is, because now, with half the league on a bye, Joe, now we can separate the men from the boys here, okay? We will be a whole game ahead of people until our bye week in 2 weeks.
Next week,
and
actually.
then it'll become even. Oh, next week? I thought it was 2. Anyway, so it is the most important week. It's time for us to pull ahead of those scrubs, and they're taking a break on their bye week, okay? We don't take breaks, okay? We're in the men division over here.
Are you going to do an exhibition match next week then?
No, I'm going to enjoy my 2 week off.
And with that, I think then it is time to end here. Thank you all for listening to Inside the PFL. I am Joe.
Manny.
And everyone out there, those of you who have a bye week, enjoy your bye week. Those of you out there battling, make sure to have fun.
Good luck, guys. Peace.